it comes to pop music, man, Dua Lipa fucking owns. We're talking about her most recent, her second album, Future Nostalgia, or could we say that she could have named this Nowstalgia? I mean,
I
come
like
on.
to think she took inspiration from
Yeah.
the OG fan in the States, me.
Yeah, she was watching your 2017 review and or listening to it, and she's like, "Wow, got to give a shout out to my guy Dave." Dave, what do you think of this record?
It's fucking great, dude. Bangers, dude. All bangers. It is a great day, man. It is a great day.
You said no skips. Really, no skips?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Thankfully, it's short. If there was 20 more minutes, this was an hour long. Probably not the case. But yeah, I thought it was quite succinct, and unlike a lot of other regarded pop of the past few years, this is very, very throwback, dude. Like, to straight up completely 70s 80s disco vibes at times. Which is kind of cool because we've seen her make that evolution into just dance pop full on. That first record was not dance pop at all. It wasn't until after that success where she dropped One Kiss with Calvin Harris and Electricity with Ronson and Diplo, which won the Grammy. Then it was like, oh wait, there's like a true dance pop lane for Dua, and then she just took that to the next level with Future Nostalgia, and it's like now you're seeing like Madonna comps in terms of like the sonic ideas and stuff. So yeah, very, very, very exciting. I really like the first single, Don't Start Now, which is again like this a dance pop banger, and it's like, all right, wow, okay, like it's coming for sure. That was back in November, and then I wasn't sure if that was going to be like the full sound of the record, but I was very, very pleasantly surprised to hear that. So yeah, big fan.
Yeah, I agree. I think this album is really, really great. I wouldn't say that this is a no skip album for me. I think there's certainly like a couple of songs that really stand out, a couple that fade to the back for me, but overall, I'm really impressed. The conversation we've been having recently, and I think we might have even had it on the pod, is, is Dua Lipa really in that like top sphere of like pop artists in the United States? Worldwide, undeniable. She does numbers. If you look at even her Spotify, she's consistently top 10. After
right now, 5th in the world, monthly listeners.
And I think after her 2017 self-titled debut, I think she had 7 or 8 singles that came out that all were in like the Billboard Top 100 at certain points or something like that.
Yep. It was kind of like a slow build. Like the album comes out in June of that year, some singles before that, and like New Rules, which is her, her mega smash hit. It's like 1.3 billion on Spotify, over 2 billion on YouTube. I think it's the second most streamed Spotify song by a woman after Camilla's Havana, and like the 17th most streamed song on Spotify overall. Like again, like the numbers go forever with that one. But like that was like her 6th single off the self-titled one. And like it was just kind of this like slow roll by Warner. She signed to a major this whole time, and I was just curious because like at that time, like I found out a lot of the way I think everyone in the States did if they found out about it then at all, which was online, like on like a music blog, because like she was getting all that worldwide attention, as you said, but like there was really no attention here at all. Like you could see it on the charts, it was like she was not making huge chart runs, and then it started to happen. The wheels started to churn. And like now it, like you're saying, is she just full on like A-list worldwide? I think she's gotten there. I was curious to see what her upcoming tour was going to look like here in the States, because last time she did a headlining tour was smaller rooms. Like I kind of kicking myself because in 2017 she did the House of Blues in Boston, which is a very small venue, and I thought about going and I didn't go. And it's like, well, that's never happening again. She's going to at least do small like arena shows now.
Yeah.
So
she's playing TD Garden this time.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and I think this is the type of album that even if it doesn't necessarily propel her to be like that household name, like a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce, I think what does it establishes her as a true crafter of pop sound. Because I was really blown away with some of the production choices on this album. You mentioned kind of the theme. She seemed to really bring together 80s and 90s pop sounds on this. You know, you mentioned the Madonna comp. I think it makes a lot of sense. Another comp I've been seeing thrown around about her is Kylie Minogue sound,
Yep.
which is like
Mm-hmm.
this like futuristic pop sound, and that's all over this. I would almost wonder if Kylie Minogue was like shadow producing this at points because it sounds so in line. But there are some songs on here that are up there for me in terms of song of the year. Levitating is
That's the one.
maybe it's top two for me, top two songs of the year. It's just incredible.
Yeah. That's one that's like pop perfection songs, which is funny because I feel like Don't Start Now is another like kind of unimpeachable, hard to pick any holes in that kind of song. But in here, Levitating, there's like extra layers with that one, man. I think that's like the clear highlight,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because later on in the album, you have like her talking about the more feminist ideals she has publicly espoused from time to time. And now we're actually hearing that come up in her music. Obviously, that'd be the last track, Boys Will Be Boys. So, yeah, the union of the sound, I think, was really what stood out to me the most. But yeah, I think you're right. Levitating, man. That's the one I've definitely played the most thus far. It's a true banger.
It was an immediate repeat track for me on first listen. Go back, listen to it again. And I think what I really love so much about that is that the chorus is crafted in such a way that it just like sticks in your mind. But then it has like these nice production flourishes. There's these like distorted backing vocals behind the chorus, which really like catch your ear and kind of just like sit there. And then they use like a chorus sound to kind of drive the beat. Like they just kind of play it over and over. And I'm like, oof, this is beautifully done. And you already mentioned Don't Start Me Now, or Don't Start Now is definitely up there. Physical, another one of the singles, I think is really great, and that's one that's really in line with the Kylie Minogue sound to me.
That one's real. That's like, you can maybe argue that's like one of her best, maybe her best song ever, because that's like really different than I think she'd done before. And yeah, I think you're right. Like the influence of acclaimed artists of the past is pretty evident on that one. And like her, like she's like a contralto voice, you know, she's not Ariana with the soprano, you know, you almost don't hear this voice from female pop stars nearly as much. And yet I think she really shines where she's able to really, I think use the songwriting, use the production to help her, despite the fact that, yeah, she still doesn't have like that top tier, like vocal strength. Like she's not Ari or Demi, but like it's kind of like she's kind of like figured out like the way she wants to present herself in her music, which is funny because like I remember like the first criticisms I used to see of her was like that she was like not really emotive at all, and it would really come out in like her videos and her live performances. And partially that is like she was kind of a mediocre dancer and stuff. But now I think people are almost taking that and be like, no, that's kind of like the persona she had. She's almost like aloof or like not like about like the bullshit, you know? So maybe I'm projecting too much with that, but I think that's kind of cool. One thing I will say, what are your thoughts on her hair, the blonde and black mix? I've seen a lot of thoughts on that online.
Really? I think she's an incredibly beautiful person, and her hair has never struck me as good or bad. So I'll stay away from it. Dave, what's your take on it, though? I'm interested.
I actually don't mind. I think the blonde looks good. But
are people saying it doesn't look good?
No, I saw some like hate. They're like, even though this album is a 10 out of 10, let's not make the blonde and black a thing. Stuff like that.
Oh man, I think she's great. So I'm down with the blonde. Keep it if you want to. Yeah. So I guess Dave, I want to ask, because I hear you saying this is no skips. The Weekend is no skips. Is this like top 5 albums, top 2 albums for you this year so far?
Oh yeah. It's so funny hearing this in The Weekend in successive weeks. And actually, we weren't supposed to get this album till Friday, but I guess this duo's second album is probably one of the more notable full-on leaks in quite some time, and that had to have factored in. It was not publicly stated as such, but you figure pushing it up a week due to the album already being out there. So that's probably part of it. But yeah, this and After Hours, I think, are my top 2 so far. But I have a lot of like songs I've really liked, but yeah, I think these are my 2 favorite records. And because they're the 2, I think, for me that both that it's kind of music I like, but also that they're really kind of focused in like both sonically and the message of what the artist wants to do. Whereas something like Uzi, Love Eternal take a lot, but that's not exactly the most coherent thing start to back. So I wouldn't hold it up to this level. Um, but yeah, I just want to shout out Anwar Hadid, Dua's boyfriend, who I think has had some inspiration on this. And this is, again, a week after Bella Hadid had some inspiration for different reasons on the Weeknd's album. And if only Gigi Hadid would have the same effect on Zayn, because Zayn is a very disappointing artist at this time.
You're just trolling at this point.
No, I genuinely believe that, though. I think Zayn low-key sucks. And as the first guy to break away from One Direction, you would have thought that wouldn't have been the case. So, work on that, Zayn. What's you're back together now? Let's figure it out.
I'm not up to date on all these celebrity relationships, so thank you for informing me of that, Dave. Any last thoughts on Dua before we wrap up?
She won Best New Artist at the Grammys last year. Seems like one of the rare good selections by the Grammys. Best New Artist, kind of a cursed award.
Yeah.
Like 3 out of 5 usually don't go well, something like that, you know? Also on a Good in Bed on this album.
Hell yeah.
Which is a great song. I dedicate this verse to all that good pipe in the moonlight. Love it. Spill that tea. But that's produced by Take a Day Trip, which is notable because they're, I think, one of the more rising hip hop producers of late. Of course, they produced Mo Bamba and Panini for Lil Nas X, Rodeo, a bunch of other songs at this point. So you look at the liner notes on Future Nostalgia. It's not like After Hours. There's no like Max Martins on this. There's no like huge names. I think like apart from like Tuvlo and Julia Michaels on like one song, it's kind of like lesser known movers and shakers, which I think is kind of cool because at the end of the day, Dua is still signed to a big 3 label. Like she's kind of their main pop focus for Warner. So that's kind of cool that she seems to be so really in control of what she's doing.
Shout out to Dua. Shout out to Future Nostalgia, one of our favorite albums of the year so far, especially Dave.